All right, so we are now gonna begin with the Raspberry Pi, and we're gonna begin with a few things that we need to know about how to start working with the pins of the Raspberry Pi, right? Okay, so a few things. Of course, we're gonna program using Python, and we're gonna use a few of these applications, as you can see out here. We'll use them a little later, maybe in the advanced one for now, but not for now. We're going to use the application of Python, and we're going to blink an LED. We're going to do some task, and we're going to make the Raspberry Pi do some task. Okay, so up till then, I'll just show you what are the pins. The Raspberry Pi has 40 pins, and the pins that we are going to see, each of the pins that on the Raspberry Pi, how they are arranged. We're just going to have a look at that. So here's the pinout of the Raspberry Pi. Yep. So this is the pinout diagram that we have of the Raspberry Pi. As you can see, this is your Raspberry Pi board that we have connected to the and which we are working on. Of course, I have just taken the screen of the Raspberry Pi on which we are working on VNC. That's how we were working up till now, right? So I was on full screen, and you were just able to see my screen up till now when I was coding in Python out here. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working with the board, and I'm going to program, of course, on the Raspberry Pi itself. But when I'm working on the board out here, let's say this is the board and these are the pins. Can you see how many pins are there? If I say I'm just going to count the number of lines, each line has 2 pins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. 20 lines, 2 pins on each line, 40 pins. So 40 pins, each of them have a particular function. Now the pin numbering, the numbering that we are going to have a look is that this pin, which is on the inside, right? The pin that is on the inside out here, this is pin number 1. This is pin number 1. This one on the side is pin number 2. This one is pin number 3. This one is pin number 4. This one is pin number 5. This is pin number 6. This is pin number 7. This is pin number 8. Pin number 9. Pin number 10. 11, 12, and so on. So you're going to have a couple of pins that we're going to look at, and how we can function learning these things. We're going to understand them in detail. All right, so these are the few pins that we're going to focus on. Right. So now let's say this is pin number 1, and for pin number 1, what is the function of pin number 1? As you can see, the function is over here. This is pin number 1. This entire set of pins has been brought out here, and it is explained to you. This is pin number 1. Pin number 1 is 3.3 volt. It gives a 3.3 volt out. Pin number 2 gives a 5 volt out. Pin number 3 is a GPIO pin. What is a GPIO pin? General purpose input output pin. General purpose input output. Okay, so remember that. General purpose input output. So you can you can get inputs on this pin from outside, like something happens in the environment, some changes in temperature, some changes in the humidity, some changes somewhere, and that can be read on pin number 3 if there is an appropriate sensor attached to pin number 3, such that you can read the values of pin number 3 from your program that you write on your Raspberry Pi, right? Or you can also use it for giving some outputs, like say for example, if there is an LED connected to pin number 3, or if there is a motor connected to pin number 3, you can make the motor run by sending an on or an off, or you can make the LED run using an on or an off. So you can send a high voltage and a low voltage, or you can send varying voltage based on your PWM and stuff like that. We're going to use them as we proceed further. So we're going to use that, and that's how we can create. We can use the GPIO pins and accordingly work out with it. Okay, so that's about GPIO. Let's go on to that's about GPIO 2. Okay, again, pin number 4 is again a 5 volt. So you have 2 5 volts in the entire system. You have 3.3 on pin number 1, and you have 1 on pin number 17. You have a couple of grounds whenever you want to use. How many of them you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 8 grounds. You can use it anytime you want. Pin number 6, pin number 14, pin number 20, pin number 30, pin number 34, 39, 25, 29. So you have a couple of pins that you can use. You can use on the Raspberry Pi for ground, or you can use any one of these GPIO pins for getting some inputs or giving some outputs. All right. So now people prefer 2 types of numbering of these pins. One is the board numbering. Okay, so you can call the numbers just as you can see. So this is pin number 1, this is pin number 2, this is pin number 3, this is pin number 4. The numbering that you can get with this particular style of, numbering, this particular numbering is called as a pin numbering. Okay, board numbering. This particular style of numbering, by calling this as pin number 1, by calling this as pin number 2, this particular pin numbering style is called as board numbering. There is another numbering called as, can you see pin number 3 is also written as GPIO 2. Pin number 5 is also written as GPIO 3. So that means each pin can also be given a different numbering based on the GPIO pin number that it has. Let me say the pin number is over here. The GPIO pin is 2. Here the GPIO pin is 3. Here the GPIO pin is 4. So there is a different type of numbering out here. Correct? Now, what is this numbering called as? This numbering is called as Broadcom numbering or BCM numbering, because this is the Broadcom. Broadcom is manufacturing this particular chip, and Broadcom says, I'm going to call this pin as GPIO 2 because that's how I'm manufacturing it. I'm calling this as GPIO 3, this is GPIO 4. So there are 2 kinds of numbering. One is board numbering, one is Broadcom numbering. So you need to specify in your program what kind of numbering are you using, because you need to specify the pin number, right, when you start. So you need to say which numbering are you using and how are you proceeding further and stuff like that. All right, with this we have understood quite a lot about how we can do the pin numbering and the board numbering. Let me proceed ahead and give you and let's write a simple program to get an LED out there. But before that, I'll just show you how to just connect an LED. Let's just see a small video of how to connect an LED and how to light it up. And if you have no idea about what an LED does and stuff like that. Anyways, I'll just also show you a small diagram. Okay, I think it's not there. I'll show that to you. Yeah, and then we go on to that particular understanding of how the LED works.